Perfect. I
I'll
really
let
appreciate
you
that.
stay later.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you,
so
Sheila. I appreciate
we'll
that. All right, cool. We got a little more time. Awesome. Aleister Crowley. Here we go. One man who knew how to manipulate this unseen mechanism was Aleister Crowley. Even though he died in 1947, his influence can still be seen today, primarily in occult circles and with music artists. So here we go. Here's what you guys came for. Here's where it all connects. So here we got Aleister Crowley in the middle, and we have Kevin Jonas and Taylor Momsen. And if you look, you can see his exact. Oh man, this doesn't even go on the TV. But you can see that they're wearing this exact picture of Aleister Crowley and what they're wearing. Here's another one with Tyler, the Creator, and Adam Lambert. They're both clearly into Crowley. They're not just wearing those shirts by accident. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that they're in a secret society per se, but most of us buy T-shirts because we're interested in it or support the brand. You could say that. I'm not really someone who supports brands per se, but
Who are those guys? I know who Crowley is, but the other.
they're all just modern day music artists basically, influencing the young generation. Yeah. All right, here's a couple stats about Crowley. He lived from October 1857 to December 1947. He was a British occultist, poet, painter, ceremonial magician, and an extremely trained mountaineer. He was the founder of the religion Thelema, called himself the Great Beast, and associated himself with the number 666. Identified himself as the prophet entrusted with guiding humanity into the Aeon of Horus. Here we go. Here's another one. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Here we have Sierra wearing a coat that just happens to say Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn on it. And her music video for Super Turned Up. I mean, there's I don't know, maybe she's into it. I don't want to go out on a limb here, but keep in mind, you guys, there's a lot of money going into these huge music artists, music videos, and live stage setups. I'm talking about like millions of dollars. Nothing is by mistake here. Nothing is by mistake. The Golden Dawn was founded by Samuel L. McGregor Mathers. Mathers initiated Crowley through the ranks of the Golden Dawn. Mathers translated grimoire spellbooks, including the Greater and Lesser Key of Solomon, to English, which includes basic spells as well as how to summon demons. Okay, so here's a little more. We're getting a little more fringy occulty. Here we go. It is interesting to note, too, that Eminem's legal name is Marshall Mathers. And according to Marshall's mother's autobiography, she reveals that Samuel Mathers is his grandfather. So if anyone wants to look into that on their own, the book is called My Son, Marshall, My Son, Eminem. Pretty sure that's what it's called. There's people in the Golden Dawn online that, talk crap about that. And so, it is what it is. It's something that's very interesting. I'm just saying it's in the book. You can go and look at it for yourselves, do further research. So, it's there if you guys want to look further into it. Boleskine House. In 1899, Crowley purchases Boleskine House. Oops, one misspell there. Boleskine House, located in the southeast side of Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. Believed the location was ideal to sequester himself to perform a series of operations known as the Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage, taken from a grimoire called the Book of Abramelin. Something interesting too about Boleskine House is that after Crowley bought it, a little time later, I think there was another owner, and then after that, Jimmy Page actually ended up buying it from Led Zeppelin. So, he was extremely into Crowley and the occult, and, Crowley was extremely influential on, a lot of those music artists from the 60s and 70s, including the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin. I mean, if you were into, like, around those bands at that time, I'm sure you would have seen a lot of Crowley literature around them. So, here we go. We're going to go a little bit further. The Book of the Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage. The purpose of this ritual is to invoke one's guardian angel. It requires at least 6 months of preparation, celibacy, and abstinence from alcohol. However, it also includes the summoning of the 12 kings and dukes of hell to bind them and remove their negative influences from the magician's life. While Crowley was in the process of performing the lengthy ritual, he was called to Paris by the leader of the Golden Dawn. he never banished the demons he had summoned before his departure from Boleskine House. So this is something that is very, very, very interesting. You know what I mean? Like, what you have to think too, for someone to want to live in this house after this, basically saying that this house is haunted. You know what I mean? It's got demons running around in it still. They never closed the portals. They never stopped the magical operation. And basically, like, Jimmy Page is like, how can I buy this? How can I get in this house tonight? You know what I mean? So actually, there was a director named Kenneth Anger, and like he was interested in buying the house because he knew it was on the market. And Jimmy Page heard about that he was interested in it. He went and just like bought it before he could get it. So basically, you know, they went in there and Jimmy Page didn't really stay in it or, you know, live in it for that long. I don't even know if he really like actually lived in it because basically there was a lot of restoration that needed to be done to the house. He had a friend, I believe his name is William Dent, and basically he was gonna kind of restore it to the way that Crowley had it. When he was there, he had a bunch of Crowley murals on the wall, and basically, but however, like while Dent was there, there was some really weird, haunting kind of stuff going on in the house. You know, like chairs would be moved, the carpet would roll up randomly when they were in another room, like weird stuff like that you see in like haunting movies. And there was a friend that was staying the night who swore that in the middle of the night there was some kind of animal, like a grunting wild beast, on the other side of the door that scared her to death. And then Dent even said one night that he was convinced that he saw some kind of demon. You know, so there's a lot of weird stuff going on here, and like you kind of have to wonder, like these guys are into all this stuff. You know, why are these music artists all in it, but why are they all kind of keeping it on the down low at the same time too? You know, there's obviously some really interesting history here. You know, I'm very intrigued and interested by it, but you don't see me walking around like sporting Crowley t-shirts on the regular. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I can really, you know, support a brand or a t-shirt that's like their kind of life mission is, you know, living the left-hand path, summoning demons, and running around doing weird magical rituals and not closing portals. You know, I don't know if I subscribe to that. I'm not cool with that. So.
But I believe Led Zeppelin's drummer died in that house, wasn't it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
John Bonham.
Okay.
There was someone who died in the house who actually shot himself in the head in Crowley's room.
Okay.
Don't, but John Bonham died from an overdose, I believe.
Alcohol,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
The Book of the Law. On a trip to Egypt in 1904, Crowley reported mystical experiences with a being known as Aiwass. Aiwass was said to be channeling the goddess Nuit, which is an Egyptian goddess. Over the course of 3 days in April, Crowley wrote the first 3 chapters to his book, The Book of the Law, as dictated by Aiwass. Here we go. We got Jay-Z here wearing a Do What Thou Wilt shirt, and this is exactly the main quote that Thelemites, which you know, Crowley founded this religion called Thelema, which is the word of you know, the goddess Nuit, transcribed through this being called Aiwass. And basically the main phrase that Thelemites say to each other who practice Thelema, say, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, where the fellow Thelemite answers, love is the law, love under will. And right here we have Jay-Z, just sporting a Do What Thou Wilt sweatshirt. No big deal. Owning it. Now, am I saying he's like a Thelemite and, you know, he's involved in the secret societies?
Absolutely.
One can only wonder, you know? But once again, I don't see anyone else sporting Do What Thou Wilt sweatshirts on the daily, you know what I mean? So, it's interesting, you know, it's something to think about. The phrase is meant to encourage followers of Thelema to seek out and follow their true path or true will. Ordo Templi Orientis. Okay, so here's another secret society that we're going to go over right now. It was founded in 1895 by Carl Kellner and Theodore Roos. Originally modeled around European Freemasonry. Roos met Crowley in 1910 and initiated him into the first 3 degrees of the OTO. 2 years later, Crowley was placed in charge of the Great Britain and Ireland sect of the OTO and was advanced to the 10th degree of initiation. Crowley eventually introduces Thelema into the OTO structure. Alright, here we go.
Is OTO Masonic?
It derives from European Freemasonry. We're going to get a little more deeper into it here, but basically here are the initiations and the three triads of all the initiations for the Ordo Templi Orientis. And this information is, like, how many people have ever seen something like this before? We're going to go clearer into it in just a little bit, you know, and this is actually public information. It's on the U.S. Grand Lodge's website.
Is there any way you can zoom in, or no?
There is.
Ah.
There we go. So here we go. Here's the first four initiations. It's the third triad, man of earth. And, you know, this stuff's pretty interesting right here. Like, with the perfect magician and companion of the holy royal ark of Enoch. Sounds pretty rad.
Yeah.
Probably learned some really interesting things here, you know. Now, like, with all these secret societies, like, you know, I think it's in the eye of the beholder, right? It's like you can choose this to practice evil, if you want to look at it that way, or you can choose to practice good. However, some of these orders are more left-hand path oriented, which means it's more towards black magic, whereas some of these secret societies are more towards right-hand path oriented, which are more like good magic, white magic, stuff like that.
Like
However,
sorcery.
sorcery, it would consider, yeah, black magic.
Yeah.
But something to consider too, you know, is that Crowley in his books, which I've read, you know, a lot of his literature, because I want to understand, you know, the way these people think and why they believe what they believe and why they're so passionate and convinced that this is their way of life and they want to influence more followers into the teachings. It's very clear in Crowley's writings that in order to become the master magician, you would need to you have to balance the left-hand path and the right-hand path. And you know, there's something kind of beautiful about that, where it's like basically all these things are like hermetic principles of duality, right? Where you know you have to like understand that everything is dual, like, and that's where the whole as above, so below comes from. And just understanding that you know there's not one truth, there's two half truths, you know, and they're both probably just as true depending on how you look at it.
It's to keep the separation.
Sure.
So this duality of polarity, this reality wants to evolve out of it. For
Sure.
him to keep and maintain the control, he would have to maintain that polarization, which is a negative thing, and he would call it self-serving agenda.
You
That's
could call
what
it
that's
that,
what the
absolutely.
that's what the lower vibration practicing of it, with intention, would be a self-serving agenda, because we're
Sure.
a collective. Like whether we like it or not, it's a collective.
I like that, you know, and
So-
I think too something else to think about, anyone who follows the left-hand path too much, and Crowley warns about this, is going the way of the serpent. You know, and like part of that you could look at it as, well, I feel like with a lot of this left-hand path stuff, when you go into the black magic with the theurgy and you're contacting demons like on purpose, you know, there's just no good that can come from that. I don't understand how you're going to become a balanced individual, a balanced magician, or you know, where you're having this total control in wanting to. There's a reason why we don't, you know, figure out or become two halves of a whole in one lifetime, which is what all these secret societies are about doing, you know. However, I think that we can learn from our mistakes and, you know, work through our karma to build dharma. You know, there's certain things that in this world that like we have the opportunity to do, and we should go out and do those. But the second we start to control things, you know what I mean, it's stopping the process of, like you said, like this reality kind of evolving to itself, which is what we all want to do, is to ascend, like, you know, to that next level and do the next right indicated action. I'm sure that's what led a lot of us here tonight. You know, I've been coming to the Conscious Life Expo myself for 8 years now. I love it. You know what I mean? This is the first place I came to where I felt like, there's my people here. There's a whole bunch of other people here that think the way I think, and you know, they don't care to be seen at an expo like this, where we're talking about like consciousness, spirituality, and UFOs and weird black magic stuff. And you know, we're just free thinkers who want to do the next right indicated action in the world. And you know, I appreciate and support each and one of you who showed up tonight. Like, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it.
It's good so far. Let's see.
Cool.
Let's see how it ends.
Oh yeah, the second one. Here we go. Second triad lover. Look at these initiations. Some of these words, man, they just get me. Theoreticus, and very illustrious sovereign God, Inspector General. Magus of Light, and the Bishop Ecclesia. Gnostica Catholica. I love it.
That's the secret language, so.
It is, right?
Yeah. So the initiates understand it.
Hey, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is all public, but like you have to go through these stages to actually understand what each one means and like understand more about the mystery.
That's what the propaganda, remember, was talking about, to understand it, the
Sure.
secret code.
Sure. And here's my favorite one, the third one. And if anyone actually was wondering how to join the Illuminati, the Ordo Templi Orientis has a way for you to join the Illuminati. So you have to wonder, you know, like why is this stuff not all over the internet when people talk about who's in the Illuminati? It must be the music artist and blah 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 blah. I don't really subscribe with that. I don't subscribe that the music artists are a part of the Illuminati. I think, you know what I mean, like not to say that they couldn't be, right? But I think it's much more complicated than that. And you know, there's secret societies like this that are like right a lot they all have to hide out in plain sight too. You know what I mean? This is on the internet. It's not like you have to go through the initiation stages to see this and learn this. It's not unveiled once you get to this degree. It's right there. So you know we have the perfect pontiff of the Illuminati, the puppet of the Illuminati, and initiated the sanctuary of gnosis, you know, and that's just like, you know, knowledge.
Yeah.
Santikismus. I love these words. So there we go. If you guys are looking to join, Ordo Templi Orientis has got you all set up.
Supposed to be done at 8:45.
Everybody doing their best.
So we got a little bit more about Ordo Templi Orientis. Shortly after Crowley succeeded in becoming the outer head of the order, he took on the name of Baphomet. Baphomet is a deity associated with the occultist Eliphas Levi, whom Crowley believed to be the reincarnation of. And this is Baphomet down here at the bottom. A lot of people recognize that imagery. Baphomet represents the symbolization of the equilibrium of opposites. Here's a few profile rituals. Boom! Got Madonna doing some Baphomet worship. I know, I reacted the same way when I saw it. I remember I was at my parents' house and I watched it on the TV and I was just like, ah! It's so obvious, it's right in front of your face, you know what I mean?
The Super Bowl one where she did, that was the really obvious one.
We got some Super Bowl for you here. Here's Katy Perry. Rocking out the Lust Tarot card. Riding on the beast here. Or the lion. Think about how much money it costs to actually create this thing. You know what I mean?
Never thought of that.
Yeah.
Worship ceremony
Yeah,
Oh
it
yeah,
is.
absolutely.
Every time it is.
for
Every time.
the hat.
Absolutely.
If you go to the Met in New York, you see the statue of George Washington, our first president, dressed like Zeus doing the Baphomet as well.
There you go. We got some more. There's so much stuff out there, you guys, I can't even tell you. There's no way I could cover every little aspect of
Did you
this in
see also
45
the
minutes.
big tattoo Kobe Bryant and LeBron's when he passed away last week? The what you just showed?
Yeah.
Yeah. The big the head, the devil head.
Oh, Baphomet?
They had those
Go.
tattoos, LeBron's and Kobe Bryant.
The coagula and
Yeah.
Wrong.
It was all shown
Really?
afterwards. Mhm.
So coagula means to clot or precipitate and what's the other one? I can't read it right now. I was looking into it the other day. I think it means to solve. Um, but yeah, basically Baphomet just represents complete duality. You know, we have like half man, half woman here. We have half man, half animal, or half woman, half animal, however you want to look at it. As above, so below. But yeah, that's the whole basis of all these like hermetic principles. Here we go. We also have the Scarlet Woman, which is what Katy Perry is representing here, and the Whore of Babylon. It's a major aspect of the Moonchild ritual. Here we go. This is where it's going to get a little darker. We have the Moonchild ritual. The goal was to bring a perfect soul, also in magical terms it's called the homunculus, into a demonized fetus through the use of black magic. Blood sacrifice and human sacrifices are always required for this level of high magic. Here's a quote from Fritz Springmeier and Cisco Wheeler. They came out with the book in the 90s. What a name, right? If you guys wanted to learn more about this book has got the stuff. You know what I mean? The idea of the Moonchild is that via black magic, a perfect soul can be captured. The belief in reincarnation, which is prevalent among the Illuminati and satanic groups, lends itself to the belief that souls compete for a particular embryo. This is really, really interesting. You know what I mean? I don't know if anyone's familiar with Montauk, like the Montauk Boys. Yeah, in the documentary, one of the guys is basically saying that this is part of the thing that they do there.
Peter Moon?
What are they
So this
trying
is
to
like, you know, we have more people coming out talking about this, and this is this. So another way of looking at it when you go deeper is that basically in the monarch mind control, they split the mind into, they try to fracture the mind through trauma-based mind control, and it creates these separate personalities, which they call alters. And basically the whole goal of this is you can actually put a program in, or summon in like a demon to be one of these alters. And they, like they're high level demons. So, you know, this is pretty sketchy stuff. How many people saw the movie Hereditary? Anyone here?
Is that the one where he's the child and he comes back and he dies and the serial killer or whatever and he comes back?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Well, it'll take a while to explain, but if you guys want to see this happening, like the Moon Child ritual, it's not necessarily the Moon Child ritual, but it has to do with what they're talking about right here in this quote. It's absolutely mind-boggling. When they get to the end of the movie, you're pretty much going to see this. A little spoiler there, but you should definitely go out and watch it.
What was the name of the movie?
Hereditary.
It's called Hereditary. So here we go. Here's that picture I was talking about earlier. What are these people doing covering one eye? Well, let's get more into it. So we're almost about to wrap up here, but this is really important to kind of understanding more of what the celebrities are doing and how they're putting this stuff out there. So hand symbols with hidden meaning. Here's a few of them right here. First one we're going to go over is the Eye of Horus. In Egyptian mythology, there is a story of fierce battles between Horus and Set. These battles decided who would rule Egypt and restore Ma'at, or Ma'at, which is basically truth and order. During one of the battles, Horus lost one of his eyes and Set lost his testicles. That's gotta hurt. The covering of one eye is a direct reference to this story and represents how one becomes unholy or unwhole. So here's some of the symbolism here. We have Katy Perry in this picture. We got Horus in the middle. We got Johnny Depp.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
And Leonardo DiCaprio. So a lot of people online also say too that like this is the OK symbol. Like we have the emoji, but it also represents 666. If you guys can see it there. I mean, I think it's kind of a stretch, but like, you know, if you look at it, you kind of can't argue with like, it does kind of look like that. You know, it's also the Google Chrome logo, if
Right.
anyone's seen that.
Right.
That one is wild. That one is wild. It's basically this, but you really, really see it with all the different colors if you look closely. And then once you see it, it's like, whoa, it's right there in front of you.
The whole point is that you cannot be a celebrity without you give your soul away. They won't let you.
Say it again?
You cannot be a celebrity without giving your soul.
Well, that's not true. There's
That's-
celebrities who can't
you know, here's how I'm going to answer that because I think you're both right. I think there's, you know, it comes down to compartmentalization, right? If every single person went through something like that and like gave away their soul, signed their soul to the devil, or and maybe it's this whole process, who knows? Let's say it is. If every single person was doing that, it would be really hard to keep this a secret, right? Keep it fully compartmentalized. The whole reason that compartmentalization works, especially in the military, is that some people know the information, some people don't. Some people like have no idea it's even going on. So you get enough of those people going out. But then also you have to enter in the trauma-based mind control aspect of this. If some of these people are being bred or grown from the ground up, which, you know, we have people like Max Spears. If anyone knows who he has a lot of great videos. They took him out. That was really sad.
And his girlfriend, Sarah McAdams, is here.
She's here?
Yeah, she's here.
Oh,
Not
cool.
here now, but I mean at the conference.
Yeah, they both have extremely beautiful messages, you know, and Max goes a lot deeper into this as well. But you know, if they have the ability to literally have these different, it's basically an MPD, like it's like or a dissociative identity disorder is what it's called. So you go to a doctor, that's what they're gonna say. But some of these doctors, when some of these people go in and work on them, they're seeing that they have alternate personalities. It's kind of like the movie Split. So they're unaware of each other, all the different personalities.
And they all just go to take control of who's going to represent the consciousness, like in the movie when he holds the light.
Well, I mean, you see it in Captain America: Winter Soldier, where the main guy, I forget his name right now, but the Winter Soldier, they activate his programming. It's literally like
Bucky.
Monarch mind control, Bucky, yeah, programming where they give him trigger words that bring out the Manchurian Candidate side of his programming. So.
I have a question. So what's your guess? Why do you think are there all these images and videos with this kind of symbolism?
So I think the whole purpose, you know, is to desensitize the public and especially young people to go along with this New World Order agenda. This is something I don't have enough time to get into tonight, but if you look deeper into it, and in my book I'm definitely going to be going a lot deeper into that as well. You know, we have to convince the young people to go along with this. It's like what I was saying earlier through social engineering. It's got to come from these celebrities. You know, if Kim Kardashian goes out there and does one thing and sells one thing, like, or tells people to do one thing or vote one way or that she stands this way on this subject, you're going to have millions of people standing in line I'm gonna do that because Kim does that. So I do think that, you know, it's starting this way, it's all starting subconscious, which it should. Not that I support this, but if you think about it in terms of archetypes, right? Like archetypes are pretty much embedded into our DNA, you know, on a metaphysical level. Like you don't have to read the Bible to feel that, or believe in it either, to feel that, you know, that sense of good and evil. And I think a lot of people, even if you don't read the Bible, have a kind of grow up with the sense of that, and people take it to different extremes. So, you know, I think this is kind of starting slowly, subconsciously, and you gotta ask yourself too, like, how is it that they're allowing this to take hold over the course of hundreds of years? You know what I mean? I ask myself that a lot, and that brings into a different, a bigger concept of like, who are these people? Are they really people? Are they, you know, who knows? But it's just weird to think that like, you know, you probably have to be sociopath, psychopathic to kind of really buy into this stuff and push it this much and be this driven. Like we see it, it's happening, we can't deny it, it's happening. So you have to wonder.
I don't think all of the celebrities are conscious of it. I think they're just puppets.
I don't think so either. There's definitely that, you know, and so.
They're just being used.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Like the altars who just get turned on and then they turn right
But
off.
people just hate on the celebrity, which is just a waste of time. Why
Well, I think
hate on the
that's-
celebrity? You have to understand the system.
Exactly, the fall person, right? It's like I think that
It's a
like
call.
they're so they create these lives for them where they're so ingrained, so busy in their life, and all the money's on the line, and the stress. They don't have time to research this
They
stuff
have
or figure
stylists.
out if they're gonna be.
They don't dress themselves.
Yeah, if they're gonna be, if they are one of these or not. I think if they started to look into this, some of the programming would come out. You know what I mean? At the beginning of Fritz's book, it even says like, if you think you're a part of this, like don't read this book because you might activate some of the programming, and it could be very dangerous. So that's like very wild to think about. You know, I get chills thinking about that.
Yeah.
But so you know, we need to look into it deeper.
The second reason they do that, I completely agree with your first reason, but I think there's a second additional reason. If you believe we all have conscious co-creative abilities,
Absolutely.
what is the effect of getting 50 million people watching a Super Bowl halftime show that openly is Baphomet worship, all watching it at the same time and going, ooh, this is great.
It's two levels, right? It's like the physical and non-physical.
Yeah.
Right. So then once again, we're working hermetic principles behind the scenes. But then you know you got to think too. It's like we're being desensitized to it. That's obviously
we're helping
happening.
bring it about metaphysically by all being
Consent.
part
They're
of the
bypassing our own free will because we've already bought into the lie that these people are our gods. It's idol worship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, we're gonna fall in line and do what they say because they've already indoctrinating us into thinking they're right, and we're gonna be outcasted as lepers, right? If we don't fall in line with what the celebrities say. So it's important for all of us to take that stand and embody that spirit because I guarantee you that's gonna be so much more powerful if you guys just opt out. That's all you have to do. You know what I mean? It's like in marketing, we opt out. I have opted out and I am not looking back. I encourage you guys to all do the same.
What does that mean, opting out, like you don't?
So opt out, like for example in marketing with like an email campaign or anything like that, like you're giving the person a choice. You mind all the social engineering, it's like, you know, it follows these marketing guidelines. But so you're giving that person a choice to opt in or opt out to
No, I
an
mean,
email
I know,
newsletter or something like
I
that.
know, but
I'm
you-
saying opt in, opt out consciously.
I know, that means you don't listen to the music anymore, that means you don't listen.
Well, not necessarily. Like so for example, like I love a lot of different styles of music, right? I actually love Katy Perry's music. I love Lady Gaga's music. They're extremely talented. Like I personally like them, and I stand in my own uniqueness and you know individuality and saying I like them. I don't care. I like their music a lot. However, you know I've opted out as far as it like taking that hold of me of like buying into this ethos of what they're trying to create, you know. And I'm not saying it's all them either. You know what I mean? Like we're all victims. Remember? They might even be the biggest victims if they're part of this monarch mind control stuff. Oh my God. Come on. You know, we gotta have some more compassion for that. Like we can opt out of the energy of it. That's what I'm talking about. We can opt out of the energy because just like you said, sir, that we're co-creating that. I want to co-create the opt-out energy.
Sounds good.
Can't really win if we do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I stand with it, and you know, I want to look more into the teams behind this. You know, I mean, I think it's too easy to be like, oh, it's just all Katy or it's all Lady Gaga. You know what I mean? It's like I want to look deeper. I think there's something there. So, you know,
There's a
you
lot
might see
there.
that in a future book there.
There's a lot there.
There's probably a lot there.
There is.
So, I mean, do you think Katy Perry is literally planning out this whole thing? Like, You know what I mean? Like,
Did you-
I don't think that they're necessarily the masterminds of this whole thing.
Did
You know what I mean?
Did you ever see the interview where she said she sold her soul to the devil?
Katy Perry?
Yeah.
Yes.
When did you say
And
that?
Lady Gaga
A
as
couple years
well.
ago.
Well, Lady Gaga's talked about how she has
Yes.
like how the demons affect her fibromyalgia and stuff like that, you know. So
Even Bieber.
Simon said it on national TV last Tuesday. There was a group that they were not even good from Star Wars, that their number was not even good on the stage, and he gave them the gold buzzer, and the other judges said, why? They're not even good. He said, well, I work for the bad guys. He said it on national TV. He said, I want them because they're like me. I work for the bad boy. Yeah.
alright, well there you go.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Words of omission. I really wanna finish this before I run out of too much time, before I get fully kicked out. We're almost at the end. Okay, the triangle of manifestation. This is a phase and indicates the principle of magical manifestation. So it's basically, you know, this thing, we see it a lot with Jay-Z with the rock sign, the Rockefeller sign, or you know, whatever he wants to call it. It's this ancient, you know, process of the triangle manifestation, which is actually can be used for good or for evil. Really depends on the intention of the person utilizing it. It's interesting
Jay-Z
too.
evil.
Jay-Z evil, yeah. He have you guys seen that video of him, like where the Reverend reverses the song of one of his songs, and it says, yeah, it says 666
Oh,
murder,
yeah.
murder, Jesus.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
wild. You guys have to watch that. Oh my god.
What is it?
Name of
Where
it.
can we
Just
watch
type it into YouTube and it's wow.
What do
That
you
was
type?
sick.
What's it?
Jay-Z's an evil Satanist? I don't know. You'll probably get a bunch of stuff.
And the lines run out.
Oh, look at what being faded.
That's actually not weird. This is the second time this week something like that's happened. I was standing in my room and my roommate was in there and I said the word Lucifer because I was talking about something in this talk, and my guitar, the pickups that change like what the sound comes from, the pickups, it notched on its own.
Oh wow.
Oh.
So I mean there's energy with this stuff. Everything is vibration, you know.
It's
I
coming
stand
back on.
I'll let you guys know that I'm not really fazed by it because I stand in that like strength, you know, of the light. I stand in the strength of the light. I've already opted out. You know what I mean? Yeah, I get a little goosebumps. It helps remind me that, you know, our world is actually like haunted and it's stranger than we think, you know.
It
It's a
just
great
needs to be
reminder
healed.
for that.
It just needs to be healed.
Absolutely.
The darkness is not there to be feared. It needs to be healed. Again, that supports what I said. It's the separation, which is intentional duality. It's a manipulated, the reality right now is being, it's the timelines are being
Sure.
manipulated. They're
Oh,
being
absolutely. I mean, I think these people are actually
delayed.
intentionally trying to bring out the book of Revelation and like everything that's like prophesized in it, because they're control freaks. They want to social engineer everything. You know, like I'm not in control. I'm like
It's beyond
not
this.
about
It's
that
beyond this
lifestyle.
dimension.
Yeah. It is. I
It
agree.
only plays a
Well, I
small
mean, there's
part.
enough of it. Like, I'm gonna be writing the next book I'm writing too is kind of gonna go into how I really do see these dots connecting to where the fallen angels that were imprisoned in the abyss have been using black magicians to kind of do their will through black magicians. And you know, that's the next book I'm kind of gonna be working on and working through that whole everything, invert everything that is sacred and that whole
You're gonna
agenda.
be working on a lot of books.
I don't mind. I love it. Alright, here we go. This basic principle is rooted in the number 3. It is a metaphysical belief that in order to manifest something, 3 components must come together. The 3 components are time, space, and energy. If these energies are focused correctly, a manifestation will occur. So if you guys even do this, you know, like, and kind of just connect with it, it's like a portal, you know, the intention of the person behind it. Like you will, I actually, when I've done it with some of my friends too, and like we've just channeled like good intention into it. My buddy Ryan's here, and like we've done it. We've had our own little like rituals together where, you know, we want to manifest like what we want in our lives and what other people want for good purposes. You know, I want to see my friends and everyone in my life like fulfill their higher purposes. You know, it's amazing to see that happen. And I also believe too, it's like we gotta want it from someone else before we're just gonna get something too, right? So this is about the value of like giving back, right? So, you know, if you actually do this and like you kind of connect with your third eye, like I can feel mine twitching every single time I do it. See if you guys can do that too. I think it's probably good to wake that thing up, you know? Here we go. Peace sign, V for victory. Here's Winston Churchill. The use of the V sign is a symbolic message of defiant resistance to tyranny, which first proposed by Victor de Lavallee on his BBC broadcast in January 1941, which became known as the V Campaign. De Lavallee was a member of the Belgian Parliament who went into exile in England after the Nazis invaded Belgium in 1940. 7 months later, Churchill followed de Lavallee's V Campaign. In a speech, Churchill announced an effort to actively promote the V Campaign throughout Europe. It soon became a symbol for all Western European resistance during the conflict, with V's painted on the wall over Nazi posters. It was an unlikely stroke of genius that united and inspired. Churchill, of course, is probably the historical figure most closely identified with the V for Victory sign, but Beatle Ringo Starr later threw out the symbol as a peace sign. So that's kind of the origination of the peace sign, the V for Victory, and I find that very interesting considering, I mean, everyone does that every single day. You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting to know where these origins come from.
Unfortunately, we're almost a half an hour over and the audio
I only have like a
department
few
has-
more slides if we
Okay,
could
2 more
finish. I'm gonna
slides.
wrap it up.
Fine, okay.
We literally have like 3 more, I think. Yeah. Crowley also claimed to have invented Churchill's use of the gesture in World War II as a magical foil to place a hex on the Nazis' use of the swastika. Some interesting history right here. Yeah, I mean, this is things that we don't think about. How the heck does Crowley keep popping up in all these things? You know?
He's involved in everything.
I guess so. Crowley passed his idea to friends at the BBC and to the British Naval Intelligence Division. There's connections in MI5. This dude just connected to everybody. Eventually gained the approval of Winston Churchill. Here we go. This is the very last thing. You guys made it to the end. Alright. Here we go. The Rock On Devil Horns. Can't go to a show really without seeing these, right? So, you know, we have to ask ourselves, what's the origination of this? I felt like a dark connection to it that I wanted to stop doing this at shows. I didn't feel like it represented me who I wanted to authentically be. And a few years ago I stopped doing it. I haven't done it once since. I feel negative energy with it. And who better to tell us the origination of the Rock On Devil Horns than Anton LaVey, the creator of Church of Satan himself. So let's see what Anton has to say about this.
Would you like me to show them how the sign of the curse works?
The sign of the
Completely
curse?
different.
How does it go?
No, not at you people out there in the audience, but this is the difference.
Aim it toward Red China, will you?
This is the sign of the horns. A curse sign, the 2 fingers extended. This way, spread apart for sort of shotgun blast, you know.
I always figured if I ever met the
together.
devil, he'd have dirty fingernails. Go on.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Well,
So that's the sign of the horn, and then what happens? Is that it?
well, there are other ones too.
Yeah, what are the other ones?
The other one's, one of the pox sign, that's 3 fingers extended.
The pox on you?
A pox on you during the Middle Ages. This
Yeah.
is,
Oh, yes.
So there you go, guys. I will never do that again. Thank you guys, I really appreciate that. And thank you all for coming out here. If you guys are interested in following up with me, definitely come check out my website. It's brianbolen.com. If you guys sign up for the email list, you know, we'll give you guys all the updates on what's coming on with further books or further lectures. But I thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.